having a wonderful day. I know a lot of y'all have snow and you're snowed in and it's cold. And me and Chris, let me choose something. We're starting supper, and I'm going to make good old.
Your microphone.
Oh, well, hey, everybody. You probably heard me anyway. But we're starting supper, and those of y'all that snowed in, we'll entertain you for a minute. All right? We are making salmon patties out of a can that a lot of y'all eat. When I grew up, we called them salmon patties. But now I call them salmon patties because I went up to school and everybody got on to me and I learned how to say it right according to the dictionary. All right, we're going to use some cayenne pepper, but just a little bit. We're going to be using some salt and pepper, an egg, some good old green onion, a little bit of flour, a little bit of cornmeal. I'm going to open a can of peas and we're going to make some rice, and that's going to be our supper. And so we'll open these peas. We'll open the salmon. We're going to hop back here and start our rice first because it takes 20 minutes. All right. I'm going to make this yellow rice. It's called authentic Spanish rice, Vigo. I think it's good with fish. And I'm just going to make a cup of it. So you use 2 cups of water and a little bit of butter. And you're supposed to use the same thing to measure in. When you make rice, that's the key. I learned that from somebody else. So don't use one measuring cup, measure one thing, and another measuring cup and measure something else. So use the same cup to measure with, so it's exactly 2 parts. So we're going to do 2 parts water, and then we'll dry this before we add our rice. And I'm going to make it in a shallow dish today. Turn this on for you. And you're going to bring it to a boil with a little butter in it. You can use olive oil or whatever. I'm going to use butter. And once that comes to a boil, we're going to add our rice. That's simple. Put a lid on it. It's quicker. Now I'm going to dry this so that when I add my rice, my measuring cup won't be wet. So we're just going to wait on that to boil. And while that waits to boil, we're going to pour some peas in an iron skillet. And me and Chris went all out and bought LeSueur peas the other day at Costco. And I'm going to tell you, it's been so long since we had a LeSueur pea because we've been buying Aldi brand, different brands. And oh, my stars, are they so much better. And I know a lot of y'all like frozen peas and y'all don't even like canned peas. But can I say, because I grew up eating canned peas, I love them. And if I make frozen peas, they're okay, but I like these better. My daddy likes canned asparagus, and my husband will not eat it for anything, and daddy loves it. And he loves it better than fresh asparagus, but me and Chris eat fresh asparagus. But that just goes to show that you eat what you're used to. I didn't wash up my dishes. I was going to wash these dishes before we started. Y'all can just forgive me. All right. So we're going to throw that right there. And trying to think if there's anything else. I guess I should have done something else. But we need to wait for that to come to a boil. I mean, I can chop these up right quick. And I didn't sharpen this. Let me go ahead and sharpen this since I got some time. I'll be able to hear that when it starts simmering. And then I chop up a couple of green onions. These were big green onions. They were so big, they were split in the middle when I peeled off the outside peel of them. Mama always did, so I do too. People say, do you wash your onions? I don't. I just take the whole entire outside peel off of it. That's what Mama always did. All right, and so we're going to chop these up right quick to go in our salmon patties. If you've never had a little bit of green onion in your salmon patties and you've always used, Mama didn't put onion in hers, but let's say you just use onion. You can use anything, onion and shallot, and garlic or anything really, but green onion's really good and it makes them pretty. Makes them look real pretty. Now look, I ain't even cutting through there. I need to do better. Y'all know how onions are. You got to put a little pressure on them. I'll do the rest of them right. So I hope y'all are having a good day. Y'all tell us where you are and if you got snow, and let us know how much snow you got. And if you got ice, bless your heart. I told Chris, I said, our views will probably be down this week because everybody's power will be off. And our views have not been good this week. So I'll tell you what, if you are snowed in, how about watching some videos this week and let us entertain you. There ain't nothing much on TV, no way. Not really. So we got this good and chopped. I did the same thing with that one. All right, that's good and chopped. Now I'm going to get over here and let's see if this is starting to simmer. I got it turned up pretty good. Oh, yeah. Y'all come on. It's boiling. That didn't take long. I didn't think it would because I put it in a shallow dish. And it should cook it quicker, really. The deep, because the rice won't be as deep. All you do is bring it to a boil and I'll stir it up a little bit and I'm gonna shake it, try to make it level across the bottom. And then we're just gonna put the lid on it and bring it down to the simmer mark. And you know what? This stove don't have much of a simmer. It really don't, y'all.
Pretty hot.
Yeah, this pan gets hot. This pan is sold out now on our Amazon website. So and on the Walmart. So if you go on there to get the pot, you're going to see that I'm recommending something different. And I'm trying to make sure that the new one doesn't have metal under here where you grab it. It looks like it wouldn't be hot because of this, but it is hot. So because my oven, this is as low as it'll go, I put the wok rack right here. And that way it's a little bit higher up and it's a little bit less heat on it, if that makes sense. And let's go ahead and put some oil in our skillet while we're over here. Then we'll mix up our salmon patties.
Do you have to time that rice, or do you just
20 minutes. But I don't think it'll take it 20 minutes because of what I got it in. Yeah. But now it still should take it close to 20 or the rice won't be good and done. I'll go ahead and put a timer on.
Okay.
I'll put it on 18 to be kind of safe. All right. It'll take us a minute to do this anyway. Now, we'll go ahead and put this on the lowest setting so that it's not hot, but it's not cold when we come over here and want to do our salmon. So I'm going to put it on the lowest setting. And then you're going to see right here, this is doing good. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it down on low. And y'all going to see how fast you can make supper. I wanted to do biscuits and gravy, but Chris doesn't want to eat the calories, so we're not. Y'all have to remember, we are older and we don't get as much exercise. And you know, when you're younger and you got a young family, a lot of y'all, you can get by with making biscuits and gravy and cornbread every night. And now me and Chris, really and truly, we've never done that, have we, Chris?
No.
I've hardly ever made bread for supper. I've always made bread for breakfast. And we've always been healthy. So if we hadn't, I don't know what we'd do. Anyway, I just didn't make a habit of it. Now, my mama, she made biscuits every night. And my granny did too. Not my granny. My granny made biscuits every night, every morning, and cornbread every morning when she did breakfast. And then they would have that bread for supper. So I don't know if y'all remember stuff like that, but I sure do. All right, this is the salmon. It comes in a can. And it's still with the, I'm going to say this because I think it's true. With the economy as bad as it has been, it's still affordable enough to feed your family to buy salmon, okay? Especially if you get it like in a place like Costco. Now, it comes like this, and you can see it's got skin on it. And all you got to do is use your little fingers. If you don't like that and you think it's nasty looking, take it off. It don't hurt nothing to take it off. All right, here's our good bowl. We're going to put our good meat in here and keep our other stuff in the other. And it's also got bones. Look at there. But they're so soft, you can actually smash them with your fingers. And I get rid of them because Mama did. If your mama didn't, and even if you want to try them, you could try them. But I doubt that you're going to ever know they're in there. And I would imagine they're a little bit good for you. Shoot, all this stuff's been in the can together. It's probably got as much nutrients in one as it does the other. Being packed together like that. But look at all that good meat. Looks good, don't it? There's some little bones. Smells good. I'm hungry. This is one of my daughter's favorite things for me to cook. She loves salmon patties. She loves Mama's salmon patties. Ain't many people's salmon patties as good as mine. I can vouch for that myself. I can. Happy wants in the trash can. She smells them.
Happy, you're going to get in trouble.
Happy has dementia, y'all, and so she does things that she didn't used to do, like want to get in the trash can. But you know, she's earned it because she's 14. I don't really want to set that on my cutting board. She's 14, so she's earned the right, but most of the time we keep the trash can up on top of something, and that way we can relax in the living room without having to hear it dump over. The things you do for love. The things you do for love. That's what you do. The special things you do for love. All right. I usually put just a little bit of juice in here. You don't have to. If you want it less fishy, don't do that. Put your onion in here. Not going to wash my hands before I touch anything else. Oh, I can go ahead and do my egg.
We do make pot pies sometime. Anything that we make, if you look on ColorValleyCooks.com, every recipe we have is on there.
Yep, and they're all free.
Yep.
And they're all, most all of them are in our cookbooks, but not all of them. And I'm trying to make little thumbnails that tell you which cookbook they're in when you choose it. But I haven't gotten them all done. And now that the holidays are over, I can start working on that again. There's always something that I can work on. I try to make things easy for y'all. I really do. Yeah, it helps me and Chris both when we go to answer questions if we can direct you there. And so that's what we try to do. Try to do it. Okay. Now, you put in a little cayenne. This is in our first cookbook because it's something we eat all the time. Let me see how much salt and pepper. Half teaspoon of salt, a quarter teaspoon of pepper, half teaspoon of flour, an 1/8 cup of cornmeal. 1/8 cup of cornmeal. This is a 1/4 cup. I don't put that much cornmeal in mine. I use a lot of flour in mine. That's where I'm different than most people. And so I use a 1/2 cup of flour in mine. Most people don't use that much, but it's good. It makes it fluff up and it's just good. This is self-rising flour and that makes a difference too. All right. And then you got cayenne pepper and that's optional, but I use a 1/2 teaspoon and they're not hot. They're just flavorful. And I don't like anything hot. You can ask my husband. I don't like anything hot, but I like this. I don't mind a little cayenne on my fried chicken as long as it's there's not a lot of it. That's a good bit of cayenne.
You got the right spoon?
Yeah.
Okay.
I might not quite put it all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Never know what I'm going to do. All right. Never know. Now get you a good spoon and you're going to mix it up good. And I'm going to get a clanking spoon so y'all can hear it clank.
Get your salt and pepper.
Oh, my salt and pepper. It was a half a teaspoon of pepper and a quarter teaspoon of salt. I'm just going to pinch it. Quarter teaspoon, half teaspoon. Okay. And you're going to mix it up. And you need to do a good job mixing it. Make sure that egg gets in all of it and binds all that stuff together. So you got self-rising flour, self-rising cornmeal mix, chopped up green onion, a little bit of cayenne, salt, pepper, egg. That's all there is to it. You talking about good? They're good. Good, good, good. Do a good job, like I said, mixing. And they should just be moist enough to make a patty out of them. Now, Mama never did make circle patties. She just used a spoon and did it. And that's typically what I do. I'm going to get a smaller spoon, though. That's a big spoon to do my patties with. We're going to turn this up and get them started. I always put in a little test piece to see how hot the grease is. And I wait until that starts sizzling and floating, okay, before I add them. That's the key to frying anything. If you've ever had a hard time frying stuff and it didn't want to sizzle, or, I mean, it didn't want to, it got too, what am I trying to say? Greasy. And it didn't fry right. That's one of the things you can do is just put you a piece of chicken or whatever it is you're making. There's a little tiny piece in there and let it be your test piece and leave it in there until it really starts to sizzle. You can see it starting to sizzle now because I turned my heat up. But it also needs to float a little bit to be really hot enough, especially if what you're adding is cold. I don't normally do this, but I got time, so I'm doing it, making little patties. I usually just put them in there with a spoon. That's what I usually do. I'm in a singing mood today. Boy, I feel good. I took me a nap. I bet all y'all that snowed in's been napping. Are people telling us where they're from, Chris, and if they got snowed in?
A few of them.
Oh, it's rough out there in some places now. At Kansas. Was it Kansas that got it so bad?
I think Kansas.
Kentucky?
I think, Indiana got a lot of snow.
A lot of them did. All over the place.
Rhonda said they only got a dusting of snow out there in Oklahoma.
Y'all back out there on the left side of the country.
No.
Well, they're kind of, to me, they are. I don't know why, but I just.
Oklahoma's right in the middle of the country.
In the middle, slap dab in the middle.
Pretty much.
I always want to say she's out on the left side of the country. Rhonda, guess what I did today? I hung your picture up in my office. She sent me a picture in her Christmas card. I hung it up in my office. They visited us before. And she sent me a picture of her and her husband. And we know them. We've been places with them. We took them out on the boat one time, and boy, we had the best boat ride I think we've ever had when they were on the boat with us. We got to see,
we saw a bald eagle. We saw dolphins. We saw a sea turtle. We saw all kinds of stuff.
The only thing we didn't see was a manatee.
Yeah.
And there's probably one out there for her, and because the good Lord was just good to us that day and really showed out while she was here.
A foot of snow.
I got this on low.
In Maryland, and a foot of snow in Kansas City, Missouri.
Yeah, Missouri got some. My aunt and uncle lived in Cape Girardeau. Most of my life, once I got out of elementary school, they moved off, and she was so much fun, that Peggy. She was the aunt that always cut up and laughed and giggled and told you how pretty you was. You know what? If you're not that kind of aunt, that's the kind of aunt you need to be. I mean, she was the sweetest thing. Always laughed, and I got to see her at church. Me and Chris went home, and I got to go to church where my brother preaches in Collard Valley, and she was there. And of course, she just went on about how cute I was. She still ain't changed a bit, that girl. But they lived in Cape Girardeau, and I won't never forget it. We had never been anywhere. And Mama put us in the car for a ride up there. Daddy, of course, didn't go. And y'all, we got in the car and started riding up there. And when we got up to Peggy's, they had a donut shop. And she was so excited. This is all I remember about the whole trip. This is how my memory is. Chris thinks I'm crazy. But I don't remember much of anything. But I remember plainly that box of donuts. I remember she had donuts that were braided. And I remember how pretty they were. And I remember her putting them in the microwave and just putting them on a couple of seconds and giving us one. I don't even remember us having a microwave. I'm not kidding. And I remember that was the highlight of my trip. And see, that's food. Food! The highlight of my trip. It's what I remember. We got out and looked at a couple of places, but all I remember is the donuts. Kids are like that. And we had to be like in the 5th or 6th grade. Something like that. I guess we drove Mama so crazy on that trip, she never took us back. She didn't. I could imagine 3 little kids in the car riding all that way up. And we wasn't used to going anywhere. We probably did drive her crazy. Should we look at this? It's got 3 minutes left. You ain't supposed to open it.
Well, don't open it.
Whew. It's hard not to open rice, ain't it?
Nope. Just follow the directions.
All right, I got me a thing over here. If you're just tuning in, this is Collard Valley Cooks. And we got 4 cookbooks. This is my 3rd and 4th one. And they got all the good old recipes in them. And you can get all the recipes online as well. All right? I need a spoon out of here, baby, with a slot in it for these. Can they see these good? When you flip salmon patties, you should start with the first one you put in there. I think this is it.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty good at making salmon patties. It's not too hard to mess them up. I turn up the heat just a little bit. Then you got to turn it down once you flip them. So the other side can get a little bit brown. And they're good and crunchy. These are. I go out to restaurants and they have salmon patties. And they're just flat. And they're not nice and fluffy and crunchy like mine. I don't like them. I like them crunchy. Mine look like chicken nuggets. They really do. They look like big chicken nuggets. I should have made these for Wanda. I made them beef tips, I think. I know I fried them some okra. Me and Chris are having an easy supper. Salmon patties out of a can, peas out of a can, and rice out of a container. That's the way you cook. You know what? A lot of people don't cook. They just don't cook. And they don't cook because they think it's hard and it's too much trouble. And if they would buy a few things like this, they'd find out it don't take a lot of effort to make something. Good. And this is good. Most of us didn't have fresh salmon to eat. We ate it. I think most of the country eats salmon out of a can. Don't they, Chris?
Well, I mean, it depends on what kind of salmon it is. You know, you can get the, you know, like the salmon that you comes whole.
You mean freezer?
No, Tammy.
Canned whole salmon?
You know, you go to the store, you get a big slab of salmon.
That's fresh salmon.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. People can get that.
Yeah. Now, when I was a kid, nobody ate that either.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing that.
The only kind of fish we ate growing up is if we caught it out of the pond. So it was either a bass, a brim, or crappie is what we called, and crappie and catfish. And that's about the only kind of fish we ate growing up. We didn't eat, and salmon patties, of course.
Tuna fish.
And tuna fish, yeah.
Salmon.
That was our fish. What do you call it? Diet.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. That's all we had to get. There went our beeper, so I'm gonna turn this off.
This oil is Mazola corn oil.
Yep. Chris has got it going on. I'm trying to pack these so they don't fall apart.
And when we get through cooking it, we let it get cool. And then we take a container that has a screw-on lid. We put that oil in that container and we throw it away. Everybody, for some reason, always asks, what do you do with the oil?
I know.
That's one of the #1 questions in the history of our channel. What do you do?
I'll tell you what Mama did it with it.
Well,
I can tell you what my mama did with hers.
We poured it in the dog's food.
She poured it in the slop bucket.
Yeah, that's what we
And we
did.
took it out to the dogs.
Yeah.
We had a slop bucket. We always had hound dogs. Look, I grew up with red bone hound dogs because my daddy liked coon hunt. And so I grew up with hound dogs. And they always had some babies because daddy didn't never get them fixed. And so we grew up and we had a slop bucket. And as soon as we ate supper, we'd rake everything into one, we called them a boiler. Mom would say, rake your plate into that boiler. And we'd rake everything into the boiler. And then we would feed it to the dogs. And they'd fight over it. Mm-hmm. And Lord, every year at Christmas time, I hated it because we would get a ham. And Daddy would go out there and throw out that ham bone. And then they would fight over it. I mean, every year there was a big fight. And I thought to myself, why does he do that? I was just a kid and I was thinking, why does he do that? To see which dog is the toughest or what? You know what I mean? Because he knew they were going to fight over it. They're dogs. Crazy. And I didn't like that. I didn't like the dogs fighting over the ham bone. He wouldn't do that today for nothing. He's gotten so soft in his old age. Daddy is real soft compared to what he used to be. Young men are a lot different than old men. And young women are a lot different than old women. I think women get meaner and men get softer. There's a few sweet older women. My grandmothers were both sweet. They really were. Sweet as they could be. All right, that's it. Y'all ready to eat? Let's look at our rice. I'll use this for the rice. Spanish rice. Vigo Spanish rice. It's good and done. Good and done. Yep, I was going to make some gravy. All right, let me get me a plate. Make a plate. This is an odd supper. We don't normally have rice in this house. Y'all, I made all those cream potatoes, and then I made the shepherd's pie, and I haven't been back. You want 3 of these, Chris?
That's fine.
They're little. I haven't been back to get potatoes. And I wasn't about to. Chris was like, just make rice. I said, okay, do it. I'll do it. I didn't put any butter in these. You want me to?
No, it's okay.
I usually put butter in my peas.
That's still on, by the way.
Yeah. Very low. But it's on. Chris's plate. There's Chris's plate. It's not real colorful, but I could slice a tomato on it and it would be. I'll do one for mine. We'll slice the tomato on mine. I like tomatoes. These are those little Campari or whatever they're called tomatoes, and I think they taste so good. I think they taste a lot like a homegrown one. They do. I wanted some pickled beets the other day for New Year's Day and didn't have any pickled beets. I was not happy. I was kind of disappointed. I got to salt and pepper my tomatoes. That's just how I got to eat them, y'all. Simple supper with pepper all over the plate. There you have it. Y'all want to see the inside of one of my salmon patties? I'll show it to you. I was going to open one of these and let them see it. Looks good, don't it? See them onion in there? They're good. When my kids were little, I'm talking until they got up to about the 1st grade, they thought this was chicken nuggets. They really did. They thought I was cooking them chicken. They didn't know no different. But now once they got up on age, they knew. I'd probably see them open the can one day once they got big enough. And then they knew. Well, I hope you've enjoyed watching us make our supper tonight. Y'all please hit that subscribe button if you hadn't subscribed and you always watch. Give me a thumbs up. And we will see you next time cooking like Mama did on Colored Valley Cooks. Bye. We love you.